Weather today is absolutely fantastic, as you can see, and I'm here in the orchard and I'm about to do some winter pruning. Now, you prune fruit trees for several different reasons, the most important of which is to increase the amount of fruit buds that you get, and each cut that you make will in turn double the size of the fruit buds you get every year. So it's a long-term way of pruning fruit trees to make sure they're growing and putting all of their energy into fruit production rather than just putting up huge long leaders and wasting their energy in growth. You also prune them to train them into the shapes that you want to. Now, these trees behind me, these are quite old. These are around 50-60 years old, but they have in the last 3 years had a substantial amount of work done on them. They were left to get really out of shape, and as you can see now, there's plenty of space up in the middle section of the tree. And if you're pruning a rose, or whether you're pruning a currant or a gooseberry or an apple or a pear, all of the reasons that you prune are exactly the same. You're looking for a large open bowl shape in the center of the plant that lets lots of light and lots of air circulation into the middle. That's going to give you a healthy plant, and you always start with the basics. So I'm going to start by removing the dead, the diseased, the dying, and of course the crossing growth, anything that I think is going to cause the plant a problem in the next couple of seasons. Now, bear in mind, when you're pruning, you're not always pruning for the next year. You may have a long-term goal that needs to be achieved with a plant of how you want it to look in the future. Shapes of trees like this don't happen overnight. These are 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes even 10 years in the making to pull a plant back round to the shape that you want it to be. Now, obviously you're in control. You're the one, they're stuck on my you're the one with these in your hand. These are your training implements. Every cut that you make needs to be calculated, and you want to be sending the plant and its growth habit to the direction you want it to do. So for instance, if you're pruning and you're selecting inward facing buds, they're going to cause you a problem long term. If you're same with roses, if you're pruning to an outward facing bud, you're going to get that lovely open goblet shape in the center. So I'm going to start, as I say, with the dead, the diseased, the dying, and the crossing. And then I'm going to remove all of the other growth. And you can see, I'm going to cut this one off. You can see that this particular plant, where it wasn't pruned last year, has produced fruit buds all the way along here. Now, I need to get this back into scheduling with ourselves, so I'm going to have to be removing a little bit of this growth this year. But what you want to be doing is you want to be selecting a nice upward facing growth. You want to be pruning it with a nice sharp pair of secateurs. I'm not sure if you can see that there, but the fruit buds themselves, they're normally around 2 or 3, sometimes 4 buds away from the original growth spurt, and they're much larger. They actually produce a dome underneath the bark, so there's a bulge there with the bud itself, and that's the one you want to prune to. And if you have several to choose from, you want to choose one that's facing away from the center of the crown, thus forming that lovely open goblet shape that you're wanting to. So I'm going to go ahead and prune all of this long scraggly growth, we don't want this, off of these apples, and I'll come back to you and show you some pictures once that's done. If you have any problems, again, if you have any questions, you know I'm always happy to help. Feel free to comment below, send me a DM. I'm more than happy to help. So I hope you have a lot of fun pruning your fruit trees, and remember, it's not just for today. You're looking at long-term goals of getting those trees into the right shape. And if you have a small tree, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to go out there and attack it with your secateurs. Sometimes leaving it for 2, 3, 4, 5 years to let it establish, really beef up, that sometimes is better. Anyway, have a good day. Let me know if you have any problems, if you have any questions. Talk to you soon.